Welcome back to the tea party. We're not quite all mad here yet, and today I'd like to share with you my experience going to a fantasy photo shoot retreat last year and how I'm prepping to go to another one this year in just 1 month. Let's go ahead and get to the meat and potatoes. To begin, let's talk about what the experience was like for me last year. I'll provide a bunch of details down below, so if you want to check out any of the folks mentioned here, feel free. The retreat that I went on was hosted by Liza Roberts in partnership with Rachel Maxey. And I've been following Rachel on socials for years. Getting an opportunity to be in a photo shoot with her was like a dream come true. I had seen Liza's work on Rachel's Instagram account and really loved what she was doing. It was a little intimidating deciding to get together with a group of people you've never met before, especially for me traveling out of state. But honestly, Rachel and what I know of her, she kind of granted some secondhand credibility to Liza, and I had a decent amount of trust that everything would work out okay. I ended up coming away from that experience with a fire in my belly for creative endeavors. I also decided that I should continue with some type of artistic endeavors from that point forward, just to give myself a little bit of soul food. I loved being in an environment that was so feminine dominant. And by that, I mean, it felt safe, it felt creative, it felt nurturing. There's something about spaces that are dominated by feminine energy. It's just so different from any other vibe. If you know, you know. I got a lot of really great recommendations on that trip. Some folks who had made patterns from Red Threaded, which they're still on my radar to make my first set of Regency stays. This was also my first submersion into Chapel Roan. I'm so glad I'm so glad that I was exposed to her on this trip, because honestly, I feel like she's become such an important part of pop culture now. I'd have no idea what anyone was talking about if I hadn't been exposed to her on that trip. Let's go ahead and talk about what I'm doing to prep for my trip this year. I have a unique challenge in that my body dimensions have been changing size over the course of the past year. So where other people might feel comfortable investing seriously in their costume wardrobe, I'm not to a point where I feel like I'm comfortable with doing that yet. I'm really making an effort to thrift as much as possible, make as much as possible, and not spend my dollars with companies that don't align to my values. All of this really makes it super challenging to try to accomplish certain looks. But I'm trying to rise to that challenge, and instead of focusing so much on trying to be accurate, I'm focusing more on trying to capture more the vibe or the inspiration. Something else I'm doing this time is I'm making sure to have at least one prop for each photo shoot. I ended up being caught without my own prop for one of those shoots. It made me feel really anxious. So this time I'm coming into it with at least one for each shoot. Two things that I brought with me that were real MVPs last time was an electrical outlet splitter and a super long charging cable. I was bunked with another person. We were in bunk beds, but there were only 2 electrical outlets in the room, and there was a lamp plugged into each of them. So that left only 1 electrical outlet for each of us. Fortunately, I brought an electrical outlet splitter, and I had a super long charging cable. I let my roomie use the long charging cable because that meant that she wouldn't be trying to climb out of the top of the bunk bed half asleep to turn off her phone alarm to get up in the morning. It's also a good idea to bring earplugs or some equivalent, because you have no idea if you might end up bunked with someone who maybe snores or has to sleep with a CPAP. And if you're someone who likes to sleep in quiet, that might be really difficult. This time around, I'm also going to be checking a bag. I managed to get away with doing just one carry-on, but I want to check a bag this time because there are things that I'm concerned TSA might raise some eyebrows at. And it just has to do with like headdress because one of them might be a little bit pointy. On the trip last time, someone was kind enough to gift us all with daggers. But because I wasn't checking baggage, I wasn't able to bring it with me on the airplane. I actually ended up giving it to someone at the airport who worked for the airline, and she cried. She was so ecstatic about it. This one is a really pricey option, but if it's possible, I definitely recommend it. This time I'm renting a vehicle. I'm someone with food allergies, so for me, it will be helpful to be able to sneak off at certain points to get food from locations that have allergen menus. As much as I love the ambiance and would love to partake of the food in some of the smaller, like more independent restaurants and bars, it's just not an option for me all the time. It can be a struggle because it means I have to engage with the wait staff a lot. And if they're really slammed, it's not really fair to the folks working at the restaurant to have to cater so much to me specifically. Sometimes there are things that slip under staff's radar. I did end up experiencing a reaction after one of the meals. Luckily for me, my allergy is not something that's, fatal. I don't need to carry an EpiPen, but it does make me feel like garbage if it manages to slip in somehow. So I'm very grateful for that. Also, I am someone who tends to occasionally get car sick. So being able to be a driver completely eliminates that possibility for me. So this time, that's the route I'm going. Now on to something a bit more sensitive. Something that I didn't take with me that I wish I had, and I actually ended up buying while I was there, was toilet wipes. I have a bidet at home, and when you travel, sometimes you get irregular. I'm also going to be traveling in a warmer season, and I was last year as well. So even just using those to kind of pat things down when you get a little sweaty is super helpful. Speaking of sweaty, one mistake I made was not either wearing public appropriate undergarments underneath my costume or having a really quick change of clothes. On the way back from one of the shoots, I ended up stripping down to my skivvies in a parking lot because I was so overheated. I could not stand it. There was also a car parked next to us in the parking lot where this happened, so they got a show. But luckily I had a shawl on hand and I was able to wrap up with that. But I'll be taking something easy to slip on and off to change into after shoots if I'm not able to wear something public appropriate underneath my costume. Last year's trip, we actually ended up doing 3 photo shoots within 2 days. And depending on what you're planning to do with your hair, that can be really difficult. I'm doing a wig this time. That also gives you an opportunity to prepare like the night before. So it's not as stressful or chaotic getting ready the morning or day of your next photo shoot. There were folks that spent a lot of time on makeup. That was another mistake that I made, was I didn't spend enough time on that, but that's something that I've been working on throughout the year this year. Hopefully I'll be better prepared for that just in what I've been doing over the past year to refamiliarize myself with makeup and what my face needs because I'm a lady of a certain age. This one is critical, and especially for me, sunscreen. Sunscreen's pretty basic. Everybody has their preferences. I'm just gonna say, don't forget your lips. And don't forget your eyelids, and don't forget the tops of your feet if you're not wearing closed-in shoes. This one's a little bit weird, and not necessarily everyone would need this, but I am not practiced when it comes to posing. I have worked on posing a bit since last year, so hopefully that will have improved. But this time I'm creating like a mini bio for each character that I'm dressing as in each photo shoot. And this is an intention to kind of set a vibe for my photos, to set a vibe for the poses that I'm going to do. And I'm really looking forward to working with Liza on that because she helped me so much with posing the last time. That was something I really just wanted to work on to get better. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. And if you're interested in more DIY content, self-awareness, or just some fantasy geek millennial lady and her cat, go ahead and subscribe. I upload videos most Fridays, and I'll see all of you ethereal little dumplings again real soon. Bye! Nibbler, what, did you do battle? What happened? Do you like it better now? Okay, we'll leave it like that then.